Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football late Friday night. Some massive news for Lincoln Riley, this USC program coming out of the recruiting trail. Four-star offensive tackle Alex Payne committing to USC in the 2025 cycle. Now, the USC fans who've been rocking with the fellas for a while know we talked about him earlier this morning. Now, I told you guys that have the USC commitment sweatshirt ready. Unfortunately, I'm on the road, hence the different background. But we weren't going to miss an opportunity to talk about Alex Payne, who I think, is a fascinating offensive tackle prospect who you got to put some weight on him. But I love the runway for Alex Payne to get on the football field for USC. I think this is a future left tackle where he's going to get on campus. He's going to sit behind Elijah Page for a year. Elijah Page, I think, going to be an All-American next year, probably go to the NFL draft after 3 years. And then Alex Payne in 2026, after getting a year under his belt, I think is going to be ready to take over that starting left tackle spot. Now, I want to give a massive shout out to Coach Henson. And we said this earlier. I've been kind of at Coach Henson a little bit in terms of what he's done on the recruiting trail, what he's done with player development. Over the last couple of weeks, you flip Aaron Dunn from Utah. You go out and land Alex Payne. Elijah Page looks like he's starting to play some really good football down the stretch along with the whole offensive line. It's been a really nice couple of weeks for Coach Henson. So shout out Coach Henson. Excited to get into some of the film for Alex Payne. Now, before we get into it, as always, to the USC fans, appreciate you guys. It's been a blast talking this program. The amount of support y'all continue to show to the fellas continues to be amazing. Going to be a busy next couple of days and weeks. We kind of said that USC seems to be, kind of the hunters in this situation that's continuing to play out. So if y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. A lot to talk about over the next couple of days and weeks. And without further ado, let's get into Alex Payne. And, we kind of mentioned this earlier this morning. Alex Payne, in my mind, is the type of offensive tackle prospect I like, where you normally have two different kinds of offensive tackles. You have the really, really big bodies that you kind of got to maybe shed some bad weight and teach a little bit of athleticism. And then you have the offensive tackles like Alex Payne, who is, right now undersized. I'll say he looks heavier than 265 during the senior film that I've seen, but he's an undersized offensive tackle. You can tell he's got a little bit of a leaner frame. He's going to need to put on some weight in order to play in the Big Ten. I think that's okay. I mean, when these kids get to campus, they put on weight the right way. And so Alex Payne spending, one off season in that freshman year in the weight room, getting up to around 310 pounds, he's going to do it the right way and probably maintain all that athleticism that he has. Now, you look at some of the physical traits that I love about him. One, premier athlete. This kid gets out of his stance exceptionally well for his body. A lot of these big offensive linemen, they struggle with the feet. They struggle to get out of their stance. Alex Payne doesn't. And I think, secondly, extremely long arms. So you're talking about long arms, athleticism, ideal frame. He's checking a lot of boxes. He's just got to get that weight up. And when and if he does, I think he can be a very good tackle at the Big Ten level. Now, you get into a little bit of the film. This is, to me, where I think it gets exciting. And again, I think you first start with it. You can tell he's a little bit of a leaner tackle, but man, this kid just gets out of his stance with mean intentions. I think what you talk about, one of the things we see USC go to a lot is asking their tackles to pull around to the play side. Alex Payne's not going to have a problem with that because, again, this kid gets out of his stance exceptionally well. Really low pads. For a guy that's 6'5", I mean, he consistently is the low man when he's matching up with these defensive linemen, which you really like. Good rep and pass pro. Again, you want to maybe get those hands out a little bit more, but you can tell the feet's there, mirroring the defender, allowing there for there to be a clean pocket, Again, you continue to look. You change the direction here. That's kind of the first thing that pops. All right, let's go. Get outside. Protect that outside shoulder. Certainly can do that. Again, I think Alex Payne, really, really exciting. He's nasty. He's a good athlete. He's got good feet. Gets to the second level exceptionally well. You're going to see this play here. He's going to show a little bit of the athleticism. Like, get out there, stride, young man, and then go finish a block. I think Alex Payne, really, really exciting kid for USC to add. And we kind of said, look at this USC class in 2025 and say it's starting to check a lot of boxes, right? 5-star quarterback Hassan Longstreet. He is the guy that is headlining this USC class. But then you start scrolling down and say, this is how you want your top 4 commitments to look like. A 5-star quarterback, throwing a 5-star wide receiver, Jerome Miles, 2 4-star blue chip offensive tackles in Alex Payne and Aaron Dunn. That's how you want your top 4 commitments in your class looking for USC. And I think a big story coming out for USC, and a guy that we haven't really talked about because he's been a really, quiet kid on the recruiting trail, Madden. And this is a guy that I know a lot of USC fans like and have had a lot of optimism about. There's a little bit more reason to be optimistic. You look at Madden and say it was like USC, Notre Dame, probably the 2 contenders. Texas was hanging around. Now he cancels his visit to Texas. He's only planning on taking one more visit before he commits. That's the USC when they play Notre Dame. That game almost feels like whoever wins that football game might win the commitment for a 4-star linebacker that I absolutely love. One, really good frame, 6'3", 230, phenomenal athlete for that size. What I love most about him potentially playing his ball for USC, we've seen Dan Lynn, he wants to be aggressive with his linebackers. This kid can rush the passer. And so there's a lot of different ways you can use him. It's rare to find guys 6'3", 230 that have the athleticism that Madden does. And you just take one look at him, he looks like a future All-American caliber linebacker. To hear him not taking his visit to Texas and his last visit before he commits going to USC when they host Notre Dame, really, really exciting news for the USC fans. Again, we said it, we'll say it again. USC seems to be the hunters in this situation. And USC's going out there and hunting. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.